views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when...
This is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page TV show. Today's special guest on Zoom, all the way from Canada, is Patrick McKenna. Wow, you are an actor, voiceover character. You are a character besides that, but you know.
I appreciate that.
So, where were you born and raised?
I was raised here in Canada in the town Hamilton, Ontario, just about 40 miles outside of Toronto. It's a steel town. I lived there till I was in my mid-20s, till I moved to Toronto and found Second City.
Second City, I was going to ask.
Ah.
Well, let's go with the education when you were growing up.
Okay.
Did you go to university or college? What you
I went to
major in?
college. I went to college and I took business, and I took restaurant business particularly. I was going to open my own theater like Second City. And so I took that route. I was going to open one in Hamilton. And then, so I took a job at Second City to learn how to do the books and all that kind of stuff. And while I was there, the acting bug was biting harder than the educational one. So I auditioned, and suddenly I was an actor.
So everything that you have been acting as a character or whatever over the years, you had to audition for everyone?
Not for everyone, no. After a while, you get known in the business a little bit, and people start to phone you and say, you know, I got a great script that I think you'd be perfect for, or, you know, we have a character that we'd like to bring you in for, like the Murdoch Mystery Show. That was one where they invited me on, and then they wrote another show for me to come back, and then another show. So suddenly you're a recurring character in it because they just like the character and they like the way I do it, I guess.
Well, you're a good actor, sir.
Oh, thank you, Patty. Appreciate
Quite
that.
the
That's very kind.
character actor as well. You're not a physical actor, are you?
I used to be more so, but I had a back injury just at the end of the Red Green series. So it kind of changed my priorities of humor. I used to, like, growing up, I loved Dick Van Dyke and all that kind of physical stuff. I just was into that. That was sort of my goal if I was going to be a comedian, would be to be like him. So tumbling and falling, I did a lot in the Red Green show, but after a while I was like, and that's enough of that.
We have been watching the reruns of Red Green. I said, boy, what a character. At least when you play on this organ thing, changing the subject.
Had some bad news up the lodge this week. Grouchy Radcliffe has passed away.
Oh, no. And I didn't know that. Grouchy's gone.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Oh, we should do something. We should send flowers or something like that. No, a card. A card. We'll send a card. A sympathy card, yeah. Oh, I saw a lovely one the other day. It had a squished worm on the pavement, you know? And when you open up, the message inside said, sorry to hear that you hit the road. Not lovely? We could send that. We could send that. We should do something like that. If we did something like that, we should do that. What should we do?
Why don't you try 2-minute silence? About 100 times.
Anyway, you could. So you have, what age were you when you started to be an actor itself?
I think I was 21. Yes, I was 21 because I was just my last year of college. And so I was able to make that leap. And then I phoned my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, and said, you know, I think I'm going to be an actor as of today. I was like, well, you should have been the whole time. So I was like, well, I knew she was right for me. So the job was right. So away we went.
On your birthday, you got kids?
I do. He's 38 now, though. He's retired from the military. He retired before I did.
You
It's
don't look
incredible.
old enough for that kiddo.
Bless you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just the one. And we found that was enough for us.
Oh. Anyways, your birthday was in May?
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
May 8th. I'm May
May.
8th.
I'm May 6th.
Oh, so you're a stubborn Taurus as well.
That's why we're getting along so well.
Sorry, Bob.
I'm a nut, but that's okay. When did you get involved with Second City TV, and what roles again did you do?
Well, in the TV show, I wasn't involved in because that was before I started. They came on in 76,
So
and
you're
then they
accountant?
stayed on.
Hmm.
Pardon me?
Were you an accountant or something like that?
No, I was on the stage, but I wasn't on the TV show. So I was doing the live show in Toronto, and that's where I was there for 3 years doing that, and a couple years out in Vancouver doing it, and another 2 years in London, Ontario, doing the live shows.
Mhm.
And Steve Smith came to one of the Second City shows, and I was doing the Harold character in the show, and he just thought it'd be so much fun to have standing beside him, where he just stands still and lets me wiggle. We got 15 years out of it.
Wow. What year did you start then?
I started with Red Green in 1990, and yes, 1990, because I started acting in about 83, I guess, 81, 83, somewhere in there, professionally 83. And then I did stand up for 5 years in there. I traveled all throughout Canada and a little bit of down in the States. And then just sort of when I got a regular theater, it's like, well, I can be somewhere every night instead of dancing all over the country. So I did that. And then I met Steve, and TV became something else. It seemed to be a ladder that just took a little while to find me.
And the character that you had played, Harold, how did it
Yeah.
jive with Red Green?
Uh,
You got well.
Oh, yeah. Steve and I got along so well because we just made each other laugh so hard. Steve is still one of the funniest men I've ever met in my life. He's witty, he's charming, he's a great guy. Yeah, I adore him. He's like a second father. I just think he's a fantastic guy. And I hope he feels the same way. He's never really said it out loud, but I
Yeah.
think he does.
He's okay. I tried to get to interview him as well, but he was not doing any more interviews or something like that.
Yeah, he's kind of hung up the suit. He did touring for a couple of years as Red with live audiences, and I think he's kind of exhausted himself.
Who doubt? Are you still working for Second City?
Yeah, actually, I am. They're having their 50th anniversary this year, so I go down there a lot, and I do benefit shows, particularly. So oftentimes for charities and things like that, we can use the theater on Monday nights because it's closed. So I have a really great relationship with Second City, and most of my friends in life have come through there. People I still play with, 40 years later.
Speaking about play, you do plays and sitcoms. What else?
Well, I do a lot of films. I just came back from the North doing a movie up there with Colin Mockery and I. So that'll just finished filming yesterday. So that'll take a little while to get together. So as much as I can, I do a lot of radio because when the pandemic hit, all the studios closed. So I built a studio here at home, and I could still do voiceovers without having to worry about infecting anybody or getting infected.
I had it 5 times.
Did you really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My wife has had it.
Knock on wood.
Good for you. It takes a toll on people.
Did your wife have it?
Yeah, she has the long COVID, so it's quite uncomfortable.
Does she still have trouble breathing?
No, all that sort of went away. Now it comes in like headaches and muscle pains and just a different type of, I guess that's what they call the long COVID.
Brain fog?
Yeah.
Memory?
Yeah, very much.
I thought I was getting something else when I had this brain fog, and that I went to get myself checked, and no, COVID. The Harold Green. What was your role as the wee beastie?
the way you see it in the show, I was the
Yeah.
director producer. So I was sort of the guy trying to keep the show moving. Come on, Uncle Red, don't tell these stories. We got to move faster. That was sort of my role, the way it started. And then it just sort of morphed into I was a character all the time who was an annoying nephew. And then it was an annoying friend. And as long as I was annoying Red Green, I was doing my job.
And at the end of the show, keep your stick on the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of
Who came
those. It
out
was
with
so
that?
great. Oh, that was Steve. Steve did 90% of the writing on the show. He's absolutely a monster with writing. He just loves doing it. He loves jokes. Him and Rick Green did the bulk of it. There were other writers involved, but everything went through Steve.
So when the show had ended, what year was that?
That was 2005.
Why did it end? Just
Well,
run out
we did 15 years, and Steve was turning 60 at the time, and he said, "That's enough for me at 60, I think." And
Dang.
that's the year I hurt my back, so I couldn't do the show anymore. So it was just kind of like everything's naturally saying it's time to rest. Yeah.
I have been doing my show, like I said before, for 13 years now. Since 2010.
And it's I'm sure it seems like forever, and at times it seems like a minute.
That's right. I mean, I enjoy
yeah.
what I'm doing. So it's not really work, and yet it is getting information before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's people don't appreciate what goes on before or after to get these programs to happen.
During, it seems so simple. So you acted in other shows, films, commercials?
I used to do some commercials. I don't do as much now, simply because of time. They're just so sporadic that it's just easier for me to work on a film or something like that. I mean, I think the last one I did was like 10 years ago for Canadian Tire, but it's because they were shooting in South Africa. And I thought, well,
shoot,
I got to go.
Tired because after that, or
Yeah.
that joke. You see my dad, he was such a card.
Oh, yeah.
So you briefly, can you say, tell us some of the roles that you have worked in, TV shows, what stations, radio?
Well, a lot of the shows are up here in Canada because I like to work close to home, be near the family and so on. But it's things like Kung Fu and Stargate. Did those and
Stargate?
Oh yeah, I did a couple Stargates. Yeah, that was a fun show out in Vancouver. They shot that.
Be an alien?
I was for a little while, but only as a disguise. I played a scientist, and then who got lost on an island, on a foreign planet with them, and so I dressed up like the bad guys for a while to try to escape and so on. It was just like the best day you could have running around playing. It was fantastic. So many people all dressed up like silly aliens. You kind of go, "What do we do for a living? This is wonderful." Yeah. And a lot of shows like that, and everything that's gone on up here, just it's on TV. I'm probably in it somewhere.
Do you sing?
I can sing. I have sung. I don't call myself a singer because I hear what real voices sound like. But oftentimes you're called to do that when you're doing a show, or particularly the variety shows. They want to see you do something a little bit different. So I may sing a song or play my guitar and sing as opposed to do comedy or drama or something.
You do dance?
No, I don't dance. That's the one thing I have 4 left feet. They're all on one leg.
4 left feet. Interesting. You played the alien. Must take that.
Well, they go every which direction. That's the thing.
Just like you see in cartoons,
Yeah.
Speaking about cartoons, who did you play as?
Let's see. I was in what's that? The Hotel Transylvania. I played the great uncle in that one, and Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs. I'm in that one as the mayor's son. Jeepers. So many sidekicks. Go Dog Go, which is on Netflix, I guess. There's quite a few.
You still do voiceover?
I do some voiceover. I like to, oftentimes I'll read books for the blind or something like that, or I'll go to hospitals and read for kids and things.
Nice.
so I try to read that way as aloud as much as possible.
Would
That's a
you do?
voiceover way.
So you would do audiobook?
I do like specialized ones for hospitals for kids sometimes as the Harold character and things like that. So there's nothing that's on Audible or iTunes or anything. They're just sort of keep them local.
I'll go. Wait. Anyways, I was gonna, oh, not that local. Okay. I was going to ask, do you write any books or anything?
I do some essays oftentimes because I'm involved with ADHD campaigns for mental health. So
Yeah.
oftentimes I write a lot of articles for magazines and so on, podcasts and blogs and things like that. I'm a screenplay writer. I've written a couple movies and some television shows.
Oh, my
It-
stars.
Did some writing on the Red Green show that kind of got me going into it a little bit. So it's been in this industry, you kind of got to do a little bit of everything if you want to be doing something every day. So writing became sort of a secondary hobby, and that just sort of took off. I enjoy doing it. It surprised a lot of my teachers, I'm sure.
Sure. So, what? You did that? And
Yeah.
whatever.
Without spell check.
Oh, yeah, spell check. My grandma, she ain't good. She's lousy sometimes. So
Yeah.
mustn't speak about my relatives like that, but that's okay. I was going to say I write lyrics and poems since in 1985. A couple of my songs have been sung by other people. One by Patricia Conroy.
Oh yeah. Congratulations. That's fantastic. That's not easy to do.
England. She did that in Nashville.
Did she do it the way you wrote it?
Well, Tony Lee Smith helped me with my lyrics. I originally wrote the lyrics. Tony Lee, who's a producer and a composer, helped me with that. And then we got Patricia, to sing.
Yeah. That's a nice break.
I should send that to you.
Yeah,
if
please.
you want.
Yeah, please. I'd like to hear that. Thank you.
Okay. My only time for fame.
No.
15 seconds.
More to come. More to come.
More to come. Animations. You did voiceover for that as well?
Yeah, that's the list I was talking about there with the Hotel Transylvania and Go Dog Go. They're all animated. Yeah.
So no cartoons?
Well, I do. There's one on Sesame Street, Esme and Roy. I do Esme and Roy. I play the character Roy, kind of the big monster who plays with Esme all day, and it's on Sesame Street, I believe.
Yeah.
Network. So that was I think that was a couple of years playing that one. That was fun during the pandemic. It was you had nobody else in the room but yourself, so you just kind of talked to yourself for 2 years.
You have something over your ear and a mic in front of you, and you watch the scene and you talk.
Well, they don't. In this case, you don't watch the scene; they just give you the lines, and then
they put the scene around you.
Exactly, yeah. For that, I mean, there's other cases they do it the way you describe it. The way I did it was they built the character around the voice.
What a character!
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Murdoch Mysteries. We hit on that before.
Yeah, and it's the fellow. I did a show called Traders years ago, all about banking and so on. And the fellow who created that show is also now the showrunner over on Murdoch. So he's the one who invited me over, going, come on over and play here for a little while. And that just turned into a great friendship with everybody on the set. It's such a wonderful, positive show. It's nice to be involved with it.
What's his name?
Oh, Peter Mitchell is the name of the showrunner, yeah. But the star, you mean, is Yannick Bisson.
I interviewed Yannick himself several years ago.
There you go. Yeah, lovely man, isn't he?
Are you still working reoccurring role?
Yeah, I'm still doing that. Be doing Murdoch. I'm starting a new series at the end of this month called The Trades. Up here we have a famous trio called the Trailer Park Boys. So one of them is getting a new show, so I'm working on that. And another comedian named Ron James, another famous Canadian comedian, has a new series, and I'm going to be playing his agent in that one. So I got a couple television shows coming up, this movie we just finished, and a screenplay in development. So that should keep me busy for a little while.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee.
Just a tad. I'm part Scottish, Irish. Anyways, awards over the years, as well as recognition.
I was lucky enough to show Traders that I mentioned earlier and Red Green
Yeah.
kind of
Red
introduced
Green.
me to a very large audience. So I got the Best Actor award in a comedy for Red Green, and I got Best Actor award in a drama for Traders in the same year, the same night, which was great. When you're the best actor in all the categories available, it's kind of like, well, that's put you to the front of the line for a while. And I got some more awards after that of Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor. I think I have about 17 nominations.
Wow.
So it's been very, very fortunate that way that to be recognized by your peers and the audience in particular who vote on a lot of these things these days.
As they say, muzzle tap.
Yeah.
I was going to say Gemini Award. How many of that did you get then?
I have 3 of those, and those are the ones I got for best actor, lead actor. So that's now I think they're called the Canadian Screen Awards. I think they've changed the name, but
You've been changing on me. I've been away 28, 29 years down here in Canada. No, United States. That's up.
Yeah.
Canada down
Still
here.
north. We're still north. Yeah.
I'm they call me backwards Patty. I do everything backwards. So I don't know who am I, where am I, what am I?
Stand on your head and it'll all make sense.
The blood rushing to the brain. Yeah, maybe I will get my memory back.
Yeah.
I was just as bad as my dad, you know. His dad was born in Glasgow.
Oh, couldn't. It's a tough little town too. They say Hamilton is like the Glasgow of Canada.
Oh, in what way?
I think it's a hardworking town, you know. So and hardworking people party at a certain level that others don't. So there's a lot of familiarity, I think, in the working man.
Whereabouts do you live now? Can I ask, or is it?
Yeah, I live a couple hours north of Toronto. Keeps me kind of close to everything. And it's kind of a rural area of some property here and some pets and horses and things.
Horses?
And just kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Mount Forest?
Mount Forest, yeah. Mount Forest.
We lived in Shelburne for.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Here's down the road then. Oh.
What day?
Geez, yeah. Go through Shelburne all the time.
Yeah. Have you been through Shelburne?
Oh, all the time, because in order to get to Toronto, I go through it. You wouldn't believe it now. The population is so big in Shelburne right now.
My sister lives there, you know.
Still? Well, then she knows the expansion going on. It's been crazy.
My goodness. So, kid, you're retired or semi-retired?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it easy, but you know, the minute you say you're going to retire, the phone starts ringing. So I think that was turned out to be a good trick. I'm busier now than before.
Can't say no, eh?
No, never been able to.
Don't pull yourself out, kid. So, over the years, you have given, like you mentioned before, and done volunteering for charities. What kind?
Mostly I do ADHD seminars. I go around to different schools and I talk to the students, and I do seminars for professors and doctors and nurses, and particularly teachers is my focus. So they develop a vocabulary to work with children with ADHD, get on the same page.
What is
and say again?
What is ADHD?
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So it's a lack of focus and hyperactivity that keeps you busy, but you don't oftentimes finish things. Oftentimes it's the bad boy in the class.
Sounds like me.
Oftentimes it's the daydreaming girl. You know, there's
yeah.
So it's those type of things, and it can be very hard on young people and their self-esteem because they feel they're not getting it, or why aren't they getting it? Yeah. So I kind of shepherd them through that when I can. And lupus, I have them on the board of governors for the lupus organization here in Canada.
I got my mother about that. Lucas.
Well, it's an autoimmune disease that just eats from within, and it's different on everybody. So you experience different rheumatoid arthritis and the different pains and all these
I
different
have
things. Yeah. So it's one of those where it didn't have a lot of popularity. So I kind of used my ability to get on TV and things to muscle up the Lupus Foundation. My mother passed away of lupus, and when I met her, I suddenly met when she discovered it. I suddenly realized how many people have this kind of quiet disease.
I don't really know if I have lupus, but I know I have kidney disease, stage 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a lot of work for you.
And diabetic, and oh,
And
man.
yeah.
I'm going to be. I'm turned 71 May 6.
Ah,
I'm older than you, kid.
yes, I know. It's 63. Yeah,
Must
I
be.
got years before I'm diabetic.
This guy's a nut,
Yeah.
but that's okay. He's a comedian. What else is new?
Yeah.
So tell me already,
Mm-hmm.
before we come to the end. Are you Irish or Scottish?
I'm Irish and
Now.
French.
High
Yes,
five. My dad was born in Montreal, Quebec, eh?
Oh, is that right? My mother was from Ottawa. My father was from Prince Edward Island, but they all came over from Ireland.
Ireland. Oh,
Yeah.
we're from Cork.
Oh, you're Cork? We're up in Monaghan. We're in
Mm.
the north end up there. I think
Oh.
actually Emmyvale, which is like the last city before you go into Northern Ireland. We were right on the border through all that kind of, all through the fuss.
So I would like to ask, what would you like to share with my audience?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone who watches Red Green all these years. I appreciate that, and I hope they keep watching. And I think also to continue supporting public television. It's been such a fantastic leg in our journey. The way we were introduced to America was through PBS, and our celebrity came through PBS, and the wonderful people we met down through all the PBS stations that were there because they loved the show and they loved working for the community. And that's sort of who I like to be around, and I always found to be good folks. I hope that's something that people can take away.
Yeah, well, actors, they learn a lot in life, and they mature more than the other people that I have known in other type roles,
Yeah, I think it's because as actors, sometimes we have to walk in the shoes of other people and other beliefs, and somehow you have to justify that to play it properly. That's why I don't like to play murderers and things. I don't ever want to justify that.
Pat, can we interview you again sometime?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and we'll keep in touch.
That's great, Patty. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Enjoyed my time.
Anywho, more. Yeah, I'm on stage. Okay, this is Patty Hunter, Patty's Page. Thank you, Patrick McKenna, for being on our show. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always for the rest of our lives.